Hi, I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and Fantastic Four Grand Design.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Tom Scioli and on Instagram at Tom_Scioli. And check out my Patreon at patreon.com. Just search Tom Scioli.
Follow me on Instagram at cinema_tomb.
So without further ado, let's talk about the Many Saints of Newark.
It's
the Sopranos story, the Sopranos prequel.
I didn't see this one coming. When it kind of like, I wasn't following it. It kind of snuck up on me too.
Yeah.
But it was released in theaters and on HBO Max simultaneously. You got to see it in the theater.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater. And like, maybe this is super obvious to everybody, but it's like the Many Saints, and his name is Moltisanti. And I know it's not spelled the same way, but like Santi is saints. I don't know what the multi part means, but I know phonetically it sounds like multi, so it's like the multi-saints, the Multisanti, okay. The many. I don't know if I'm saying something that's like super obvious and embarrassing myself, but I was like, oh.
You just enlightened me now.
Because it focuses on the Moltisantis. It focuses on Dickie Moltisanti, who's Christopher's father, who like we hear references to from time to time in the show. Oh, Dickie Moltisanti, and that he was kind of like a father figure to Tony Soprano, and now Tony Soprano is doing the same thing for young Christopher.
His son, James Gandolfini's real life son, is in the movie.
Yeah,
playing him right
now with this movie. I was kind of on the fence about seeing it. Like, yeah, I wanted to see it, but again, like, you know, it's not the easiest thing in the world to get out to the movies. And this one wasn't playing on a lot of screens. It wasn't playing on like at like my favorite theaters that I like to go to in Pittsburgh. I had to go to like a different theater than my favorites. But the thing that got me to go see it was that angle. Like, it just like that seemed pretty like interesting to me and poignant. You know, yes. the idea of like you know he was a kid when his dad died, and now he's gonna play, you know, the role that his father played. Like it felt like kind of like this sort of, you know, kind of beautiful kind of thing. So that was what got me to the theater. Like, you know, and so the rest of it would have been bonus. But that was what got me to make that jump. Be like, okay, I think I need to see this in the theater. Yes, I could stay home and watch it, but let me get out and see it. Again, like, when I see a movie in the theater, it just it does something to me that like just doesn't happen at home. No matter how cool your sound system is, or what, it's like
when you're in the theater, it's like you're focused.
Yeah, you're focused. Like you just can't be distracted. Mm-hmm. There's and like you're looking up, you know, at this giant screen. Like, it's the gods. You know, you're seeing the gods play out their dramas.
Plus, like, with a crowd, with
a crowd, which was interesting.
Adds a dynamic.
There were a lot of like Sopranos types in the, or like people who thought they were Sopranos types in the theater. They're like, oh hey, like in the theater.
But for some reason, like I had like just went to the dentist, so I had a lot of
right, the cheeks were all puffed up. And this was like the most packed a movie like that I've seen post-pandemic, other than like, I don't know if, like, I think it was a little more packed than Godzilla vs. Kong. That was pretty packed too, but this, like, I've been to a bunch of movies where it's like just me, or like we've been to movies, it's just us and like nobody else. This one, people came out for it, and I do think, like, because it wasn't showing at like a lot of screens, and there was only one showtime. Like, this was a Friday, movie premiere in Pittsburgh, and it was only showing one time. So it was, it was like a 7:15 show or a 7:05 show. So you had to be there. Like, it's a little odd to me, but I understand like the realities of that. But so like a lot of theaters didn't bet on this because I think some, they were just kind of like, who's going to go out and see a Sopranos movie?
I haven't. So when The Sopranos came out, I was in high school. I think it was like '99.
Yeah. And
I watched The Sopranos on DVD after, it's been probably whenever the series ended, like the year the series ended or right after, I watched through it at least one time on DVD.
Yeah.
So it's been a little while, and I think it might have ended around like 2007 or something. So I don't know how, we're talking about...
that's collapse of time. Where,
how long ago was 2007, man? That was...
Yeah, it was 13 years, or 14 years ago. I've watched it maybe like all the way through from start to finish. I've watched The Sopranos maybe twice, like, but then I've like watched little bits here and some favorite episodes and stuff. But I haven't watched it recently. Like I haven't watched it all the way through recently. So I wasn't 100% attuned to like all the references, like some of the people in the theater who are like, whoa, But I did. I mean, like I do remember Uncle Junior, Dickie Moltisanti, like the Moltisantis, the
Tony Christopher,
his mom, of course, and it starts out.
Baby sense evil.
Yeah, that part was a bit much, but yeah, it starts out. The movie starts out kind of like with this kind of like film noir trope, kind of like. Sunset Boulevard or something, but it's like you're in a graveyard and like the camera's real low and you're moving through, and as you get close to like the different tombstones, you hear like the person who's in that grave like sort of telling their life story, and you just kind of and in the theater again you're hearing it for sort of like sweep by you and stuff, and then they get to Christopher Moltisanti's tombstone, and then he starts sort of telling his story, and like here's...
I went to hell for this guy.
Here's this motherfucker who killed me, That was, like, in The Sopranos, that's a pretty big moment. Like, when he kills Christopher, that's like, oh, man. Like, and in that final season, his psychiatrist, Dr. Melfi, and then you, the viewer, realize that, like, you've been played, and that this character who you've been following their adventures, and even though he's like a bad guy, you're still kind of like, there's part of you rooting for him, like there's like the one special agent who's kind of rooting for him and stuff, even though like he shouldn't be. But you kind of like through the course of the series you feel like there's some kind of like arc happening, that like Tony's getting better, or he's improving, or like learning lessons, and then you realize like pretty close to the end that like no, he's like a sociopath, a psychopath, and he hasn't learned anything, and he kind of played his psychiatrist, and he played us, and made us think that he was like learning, but he wasn't getting any better, and the only thing he was learning was just how to be like a better psychopath, a better sociopath, so and killing Christopher was kind of that. It's like, okay, this guy is like the closest thing he has to like a son, like more of a son than his own son, and he fucking kills him,
because like in season 1, it's like, isn't this wacky? It's like he's going on a college viewing tour with Meadow, and it's got to take a minute to go whack this guy. It's like wild. Mm-hmm. David Chase.
Yeah, and so like you've watched this entire series, and so you know like presumably like it's like good luck if you're going to the Downton Abbey movie without having seen an episode of Downton Abbey. Like, good luck to you. And so it's, same with this. Like, so you've been informed that, like, oh yeah, this guy's a psycho, and everybody around him's a psycho, and so and so now it's like, okay, here's the backstory or whatever, and so it's like. Dickie Moltisanti is like, he's like the Tony Soprano character. Like he's sort of the central character in this, the guy we follow, but like we sort of have learned, like we know that like, okay, this guy's not a good guy. Even though you do kind of follow his story and get caught up in it a little, like you are reminded from time to time, like,
he's this guy's a piece psychopath.
Of shit. Yeah. But and again, he has
kills his dad.
He kills his dad. He has like saving graces, or not saving, but he has like sort of redeeming characteristics. But like, only in cinema terms, not in real life terms. He drowns the love of his life, or his guma.
Guma. It's a guma. Yeah. What's your guma? And then you got Ray Liotta.
Yeah, Ray Liotta.
Twins.
Yeah. Again, another noir trope of like, a guy playing his own twin. Like,
love it. And
like at this point, like David Chase got to do like years worth of like. Godfather tropes and Goodfellas tropes and all this kind of stuff, and so now he's like doing a like a mafia movie, this sort of like well-worn genre where like some of like the classics of cinema came out. And so when you have like this sort of backyard confirmation scene and stuff like that, it's like, okay, this is like the wedding in the Godfather. It's like it's very
Good food.
curated.
Looks good.
Yeah, the food looks good. When I got home,
oh my god,
we had some like noodles in the refrigerator that I definitely like. I fired back up and kind of, you know.
I heard that Eminem, the rapper, has a restaurant he opened called Mom's Spaghetti. I don't know if I've been like fooled or something, but what I'm thinking is, here's a little branding thing. Like, I don't think you should call your restaurant Mom's Spaghetti if like a lyric before or after is the word vomit, because it's like Mom's Spaghetti, vomit on his. So it's like, that's like, I love the concept. I would go, it's like a walk-up spaghetti thing, but like maybe like pick a different lyric. It's like doesn't have big like vomit right after. Like,
yeah, so they got Satriali's, meat market, which figures into it, and like, you know, there's all this like I feel like this does a better job of being a prequel than like, you know, the Star Wars prequels or whatever. To give an example,
oh, it's Anakin.
Yeah, exactly. Like of giving it like some like vitality of its own and finding like a place for the various characters that make sense. But some of this, so like Silvio, that's like Little Steven's character, right? Yeah. Like, so Silvio, like in this, it's pretty clearly established that he's like bald and does a comb over and figures something out. Like, I don't know that they ever. Maybe my Sopranos knowledge is, maybe there was like an episode or something where his hair goes up. But I didn't know that they established that in it. So I don't know if they're just doing that because Little Steven has no hair. So they're like...
in this, you missed the scene in this where he was like, hey guys, what do you think I'd like look like with a headband on or a bandana? And they're like, no. And he's like,
hey, I'm having a Kickstarter to get people to bring back... what was it? The Young Rascals. We're bringing back the Young Rascals, and you can be a supporter of the Rascals. Don't you love when they say, you know, it's a beautiful morning, you know? Did you see that? He did like an infomercial about the Rascals. And it's like, and you can pledge. You could, for the $4,000 level, you will be mentioned in a retrospective video that will play at the beginning of the Rascals concert. You know,
he's like in the movie. He's like, "Hey guys, I can't help you unload this truck. I gotta go audition for the East Street Band."
Yeah. I mean the era kind of like, you know, kind of works out a little bit. The sort of like late '60s, early '70s era.
Comedian Joey Diaz. I think I can't remember if he's like Big Pussy's like dad.
Yeah, he looks like he's filling in the Big Pussy role. So yeah, that's what I assumed. But again, they don't, you know. Fortunately, they don't spell everything out. It's like, hey, how's it going? I'm Big Pussy's dad, you know?
He's like, bigger pussy.
Yeah, you know? Well, because there was Little Pussy and Big Pussy. Like, after seeing this, like, I'm re-watching The Sopranos from the beginning and kind of seeing, like, this. And it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Because it's like, you know, Uncle Junior doesn't like Dickie Moltisanti. So it's like, as you're watching, it's like, oh, okay. Because he doesn't like Christopher in the show, and like Christopher's Tony's guy, and he's not Uncle Junior's guy, you know, and there's so it's like, okay, it makes sense. See, like, it wouldn't have made sense if like Uncle Junior and Dickie Moltisanti were like super tight, and then it's like, okay, why is he being such an asshole to Christopher, you know what I mean? Like,
then the one guy's Paulie Walnuts, I think.
Oh yeah, Paulie Walnuts. And again, like, the crowd popped for like these, like the crowd popped when Silvio does his Silvio stuff, and then when Paulie Walnuts does his stuff, the crowd was going nuts. He's like, oh, you know. It's like the Muppet Babies version of The Sopranos.
Soprano. Oh my god.
Tony. Violence. So like the Tony character, you know, played by James Gandolfini's son. Like when he shows up, you are kind of like, you know, paying extra attention, you know, but he's not the main character. Like the main character is Dickie Moltisanti, and he kind of is like woven into the story, kind of like Dickie Moltisanti is like Qui-Gon Jinn, and Tony is Anakin. Now again, more like Anakin in Lucas's original script, where like Anakin was going to be a teenager, he wasn't going to be a little kid.
Yeah.
Which I think, like, people talk about about Jar Jar Binks and this and that. Like, I think that was kind of the fatal flaw of that first prequel, was that like we're watching an infant running around, and then like he's an infant, and then Padme is like 30. and then we're supposed to believe that these two are going to like end up together. And you know, and it's like if they would have, if Lucas would have stuck to the plan and had like, you know, like a teenager or like somebody in their 20s or whatever playing a teenager, it would have, you know, and so he could have like deliberately blown up that space station instead of being like whoops or whatever, you know.
What happened? He kept saying his car was a pod racer.
This movie, like this Many Saints, like I feel like it's a masterpiece. Like I really enjoyed it.
Love it.
And when you're watching a movie, like it's kind of like all these like Marvel movies and stuff like that. It's like when you're watching a movie where you have like several years investment in the characters and in that universe, and then watch that movie. Like it like certain things can happen that like can only work out. You know, like if you're sort of like introduced to these characters for the first time, you know, as the movie starts rolling, and then you see all their little things, like it doesn't, you know, like you really got to be doing some amazing stuff to get somebody to like really feel it. But with this, it's like you already come in with so much investment in this world, and
I even like this like watching The Sopranos so long ago, it was like seeped completely from my brain. So
but you still you know Uncle Junior when you see him, you know.
I wish you seen the crowd. Like, how was the crowd popping during that?
This movie went over big, and I was into it too. Like there were some points I was like, oh,
I was
all in.
I love this actor playing Dickie.
Yeah.
Big fan of this guy. Like,
what's he from? He seems super familiar.
You know what? I don't recognize him from anything. And like, I looked him up. He's from Boston, so he does have that like, kind of like.
He's gonna kick your ass, kind of energy.
Yeah, he used Tony like he wasn't front and center, but he was just like enough on the peripheral.
And you buy him as young, but like completely because he's like his son. Like
this guy is James Gandolfini's son.
Yeah,
he's like
you buy it. Like you see him growing, and they come up with like, you know, like I mean, how in depth you want to get with like you know in terms of spoiler territory and stuff, but like. You know, the sort of like Star Wars prequel analog does kind of work because Dickie Moltisanti is like Qui-Gon because it's like if he lives, then Tony doesn't become evil. You know, like Tony doesn't go into the because like he's made it. You know, it becomes clear that like he's made the decision to keep Tony out of this, and he's and like he's even like everybody's like, hey, just let the kid in, he's like, no, like absolutely, like he draws the line, you know, and then it's only because he gets like erased from the equation that that Tony does, you know, come in, which is because you go into this with the assumption that like because he takes Tony under his wing, so you go with the assumption like, oh yeah, he's gonna teach Tony the ropes and stuff like that.
But he doesn't want to be in it. Tony's like he wants to play football.
Well, yeah, Tony's got resistance to it, and like Dickie kind of starts out kind of wanting Tony to come in, but then it's like for all the different, you know, like he, you know, it's like there's a lot of Catholic stuff in this, you know, like which is again part of like this mob movie, Italian mob movie kind of equation. There's like a lot of Catholic stuff, and so it's very Catholic where he's like, you know, he's trying to like atone for his various sins, and so. The Ray Liotta, like his father's twin brother, is kind of like, you know, sort of like the angel on his shoulder a little bit, and kind of like, oh yeah, like if you want to do a good deed, you got to keep this kid out of, you know, and so he's going to keep Tony out.
And I like too how, you know, Tony doesn't. There's no like moment where he's like, now I'm evil, or like like it's kind of like like even at the end it's like a slow. I like how they played it.
That ending was like so powerful, where he's like looking at, you know, it's at you know, Dickie's funeral, and he's looking at Dickie's, but and again like very Catholic stuff, and like you know. I'm Italian American, grew up, you know, Catholic and all this. So like these movies like really work for me on like another level because of, like you kind of connect them. But he's like at the wake, and like I've been to wakes like that, and so, and he's got his jewelry like the, you know, Dickie Moltisanti has his ring on, and Tony's kind of zooming in on the ring, and like I kept thinking like, oh, he's gonna pocket that ring, and that's gonna be like, okay, this is Tony becoming like a criminal, or he's gonna steal the ring off of Dickie's finger. But then it's like it's just zooming in, and then him and Dickie do this like pinky swear. I was like, no, pinky swear with Dickie Walter. Oh, you know,
like
I was in, and then like the theme song plays, and like it's like, you know, it's like blowing your mind, and it's like that theme song. They must have been like, man, wait until people are sitting in a theater with a theater sound system, and then that song kicks in, and like they're saving it, you know, because it's all this like bass. It's like
that's the only time it plays at the end.
You've heard it a million times on the show, and it's like just like burned into your brain, but like you never saw it in a movie theater, you know, so you never got to hear like just how much the bass like rumbles on the. It's like, yo, Dickie Walter. He's in the basement. Pinky swear. He's in the pinky swear.
Like, I've seen this so much in mob movies, but like, I think I'm gonna have. It's like I'm gonna have to do it here. I want to eat like spaghetti in my boxers and an A-frame tank top with full jewelry on,
and get shot in the head. There's all this stuff where it's like, oh, those are the chairs my grandmother had.
Oh yeah,
that's the porch. Like they have that like metal outside like porch and backyard furniture that's like metal. That's got like the X's. Nana had that. Oh, Pop, I miss you, Pop.
We have to do an episode where I'm
Pop, I miss you.
I'm wearing a wife beater and gold chains and a big watch, and I'm like eating a plate of spaghetti.
We haven't gone all
right.
Because I was thinking about it, and it's like
gabagool.
It's like, you know, different people like these mob movies are like. It's like our mythology.
Yeah.
If you're Italian American, like what, you know, whether your family was like involved in the mafia or not, like these are like our mythology.
Yes.
This is like you know, it's like you know, some people might watch a movie with like knights in it and be like, oh yeah, that's, you know,
we watch
or like
men,
or like a western. You watch a western, it's like, oh yeah, that's what my ancestors were doing. And then we watch this, and it's like like this is where we come from. This is it. You know, hey, oh, and like. Yeah, I'm not any kind of tough guy, and even, like my dad was like a big nerd and stuff.
Yeah,
like he wasn't involved in any of this stuff, and it's like, you know, you take out the, you know, mafia or organized crime kind of like aspect of these movies, but it's still like, you know, somebody stirring up sauce, lawn furniture, like the
eating outside, like
yeah. So it's
outside.
Like that's the stuff that
comforting
that we like relate to in these movies.
I'm gonna have some spaghetti in my boxers.
Yeah, with like a gold chains, and then like
a huge tuft of
a huge. Oh no, I was gonna say like a big napkin.
Like, oh yeah, I thought you meant some huge tufts of chest hair. But yeah, yeah, you're right. I gotta do that. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna
big napkin hanging out, hanging out like over the jewelry, but like tucked into the.
Yeah,
shirt.
I got my bracelets on, my watch, but I'm eating my box. But Tom, I have to tell you, after the episode, these couple guys that wanted us to take these. These guys, they're fans of the Total Recall show, but they said they want us to take these rolled up carpets to the junkyard to get compacted.
They have a sign on it that say "not a body," and you know, whatever. With
these guys, fans of the Total Recall show, they were talking to us. They want us to hijack a truck,
a cigarette truck.
A cigarette truck. Wow.
There's the scene in this where where Tony Soprano's dad has to like shave off his mustache, and like that is like there was like the generation of those guys that like all had to have a mustache. And
my dad has a mustache, and like I think he might have shaved it once, and I was like, oh god,
who are you?
Grow back. So I should grow like the biggest.
Reading like The Godfather and stuff, like they would refer to like the guys with the mustache. They call them Mustache Pete's, Mustache Pete, and you're like that was like the old generation of like the guys in The Godfather. And
I remember mustache. It's gonna be unironic,
right?
Yeah, it's like they're like, so because like usually the guy with the mustache will be like, I'm like, here's my like artisanal pickles or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
or he's on the penny farthing bicycle.
Another character I was kind of looking forward to seeing in this movie, and was kind of like has like a nice presence in the movie, is Tony's mom, Tony Soprano's mother, And like in the show, like in the first bunch of episodes, she's kind of set up as being like almost like the villain, you know, and sort of the mastermind, and like Tony's nemesis almost. She's being set up, and then the actress who played her died, and so they kind of had to regroup and change direction, and like, you know, she wasn't there to be the villain, but you know, like, so you kind of get to see her in this and see like
she's like doesn't want to take her like the medication prescribed
and like she's not the villain of this. Like maybe if The Sopranos had, you know, run its course and she had like, you know, the actress had lived and they'd be able to explore the character even deeper and really had her pay off as the villain. Maybe then when they come to make this prequel, that would be in it, like she'd be in it more as the villain. But because she got taken out of the equation kind of early, she is sort of like a toxic presence in this, and like says some sort of nasty stuff at Dickie's funeral and stuff. You know, she's not, you know, she's not like this like arch villain or whatever. She definitely is like sort of this, you know,
bad
troubled
vibes.
figure. And they have a scene which I think they must have like told the story in like an episode of The Sopranos or whatever, but where Tony's dad shoots her in the hair. Like he shoots her hair. Like, and that scene, he shoots her hair like through, like she's wearing that thing on her head that like, you know, my grandmother would wear, like Nana would wear, a schmata. He like shoots her in the schmata, and then he's like, "Why are you giving me that face?" It's like, you know, he just shot a gun. He's like, "Why are you giving me that face?"
I just shot you through the hair.
Yeah, why are you giving me that face? And I guffawed at that scene.
There's even smaller Tony.
Yeah, they have like little tiny Tony, which I don't know, like, I don't think he's a relative, like the little tiny Tony.
No.
But like teenage Tony is
the haircut he had, I thought it was like a Neil Diamond biopic.
Yeah, the haircut, it is like, because we're establishing it in an era, so it's like, it's the 70s, like he's, you know, this isn't taking place in like the Goodfellas era or what, like this, okay, this is the 70s, so he's gonna have, you know, he's a teenager, he's gonna have the 70s hair, and like Janice is, you know, there, and there's references to like Sonny and Cher and all. And cheeks, oh, look at this face, I love this face, those cheeks, I love this face, I love this face, don't ever change, don't ever change.
Don't talk to me like that. And he's like,
hey,
love you, I love you. And he's like,
but so it's like established in that era, so he's got to have that hair, and it does work, and it does give him a vulnerability.
You heard me.
It's like the kid who is in this. It's like they got Tony Jr., like the kid who little Anthony or whatever his name was in the show.
Oh yeah, AJ.
AJ. They got like AJ's real life son to play the little kid.
There we go. There's
Uncle Junior. Yeah, I always liked Uncle Junior's character, like the look in The Sopranos, because it's like he's like this, like he looks like a nerd, like he's kind of bald, like horn-rimmed glasses, but he's like a super badass.
He's
know? Like in the flashbacks and stuff, you know.
He like
and so
he's the one. Oh, go ahead.
Well, it's just it's like a new look for like a tough guy mob character.
Oh,
It's the glasses. I don't remember there being like a bald glasses nerd in a mob movie prior to Uncle Junior.
He's paving the way. They're like, this guy, he's like Bill from accounting.
Right.
But he's also a fucking like mafia psychopath.
Well, no, he's Mel Tooley from the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god, that's so fucking funny. Then you got Leslie Odom Jr. from Hamilton.
Mm-hmm. He's like Mel Tooley from the Dick Van Dyke Show as a mobster, and then like, you know, the guy who's like Big Pussy's dad or whatever is Maury Amsterdam. You know, like, hey Bobby, what are you doing here? You know.
The chicks look
at his face.
Look at his face. Slap him around. And then he's like, I love you. Don't ever talk to me like that. But I love this guy. Like, it's like Vaseline between like beating you up, and like, it's just ridiculous.
When Tony is like blissing out by his like giant speakers, like that he got, that were like his ill-gotten gains and stuff, he's blissed out with his speakers. It did make, like, it does make me think in the movie, like, when, you know, when you're at the movie and you got, you know, the big bass booming.
And yeah, he doesn't want to be in the mob. He throws him out the window. It's like, come on, Tony, you can do this. Mm-hmm. Then he's like,
that pinky swear. I'm like, I hope nobody sees him crying at the Sopranos. You know, you turn around, there's all these guys in like their tank tops all crying with like sauce on the.
Like, why did that guy have a plate of spaghetti and a red and white checkered apron like the table? How did that guy get that plate of like gabagool?
They do like good swerves in this because it like I realize like the way these mob movies work is like you have like 5 or 6 guys who all have like a credible reason to kill you. And then it's the guy you didn't suspect is the one who does it. Because I was like, okay, Ray Liotta knows that he killed his dad, so he's going to be the guy, and he's sort of disgraced. So this is how he gets back in with the mob, is he informs on his nephew or whatever. That's going to be the one, or it's going to be these like rival mob guys or whatever, But it's Uncle Junior.
I swear,
Junior. that was another. The crowd popped for that. I was you hear people say Uncle Junior. Uncle Junior.
The guy was like, Uncle Junior. He's got spaghetti sauce on his mouth. Meatball comes rolling like
on top of spaghetti,
all covered with cheese.
Yeah. Everybody's in the audience with like a big cheese steak or something. Big eggplant parmesan sandwich or something.
I go up to they're like, what? I can't believe this guy. They don't got any eggplant parmesan at the snack bar.
I mean, there's the scene where like it's just like the one scene where you see like young Carmela, and then I don't think it was Jackie Senior. Remember, there's like Jackie Junior, and like Jackie Senior. I don't think it was Jackie Senior is in like the ice cream heist, or no, Tony's on the phone with Moltisanti, and then the other, like his friend, is like eating this delicious looking Italian hoagie, and then they get in a fight and stuff. But man, the next day I had an Italian hoagie.
So fucking good. Like, I was told to leave, they're like, "Sir, you have to leave because I had a lit cigar and a glass of vino for some reason."
A glass of grappa.
So hungry for some spaghetti, like some good pasta.
Matt, you are observing Omerta.
Like I'm the. Keep the law of Omerta. I don't know.
But his crew, a bunch of guys in walkers show up.
They like beat me up and throw me in a bunch of boxes to like go to the mattresses. We heard you flapping your gums on the Total Recall. We're gonna have to make you sleep with the fishes. Yeah, like, so do you think we should take those rolled carpets to the junkyard compactor?
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. I think we should tell those guys to hit the pavement.
Hey, you guys! Oh, right there they are, right there. Hey, hit the.
There's like a scene in this movie where like one of the characters goes, "Ah!" and like the whole crowd went nuts. The crowd went nuts. There was like there were like. Just like I could just hear, like I was in the second row. The place was packed, and like at the when you're like looking at the little diagram and like, okay, I'll take this seat or whatever. Like the whole thing was filled up. So the front 2 rows were the only ones left. So I was in the second row, and then there was nobody else in the second row, nobody else in the first row, but the whole rest of the place was packed. But so I'm just like hearing voices behind me, and it's
like when my family was seeing Independence Day in the theater. There was a part where it's just stuck with me forever for some reason. It was when Bill Pullman's like, "We're going to have to nuke them." This guy that was sitting behind us goes, "Woo! Yeah. Time for a good old-fashioned radiation barbecue." And that was said in the theater. Yeah. And I never forgot that. It was like, I don't know, it's burned into my brain. Yeah. He was like, this guy, like, sitting right behind me was like, "Woo! Time for a good old-fashioned..." I never heard the term radiation barbecue.
I think the guy you're talking about probably like had already like saw like the earlier showing of it and then came up with this great line and wanted an audience and couldn't wait, and so like watched the movie again, maybe on the same ticket, maybe
you might have go to the mattresses.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you've been watching the Many Saints of Newark, a Sopranos story episode of Total Recall Show. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and Fantastic Four Grand Design.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Tom Scioli. Check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Tom Scioli, or follow me on Instagram at Tom_Scioli.
Follow me on Instagram at cinema_doom.
And you will totally recall seeing us at the movie.